when not even death can fucking stop you from being gay. Howdy hole, and welcome back to Hole Chat, a podcast about boy love, girl love, queer love, all in comic form, ready for you to devour. I'm your host, Chuck, and with me is someone I'd fight death to be with, Keelz.
Hello.
Okay, so we've done rom-com and rom-com fake out. So now I'm craving fucky ducky.
Fun.
Yeah. We've done all the nice we have for December.
Oh boy.
So now we're
One
going
nice
to a different
one.
place. Well, the one we're gonna do next week is nice, but like nice for us, nice in a way that we like, but not nice in like regular terms. I'm sorry.
Look.
This one's an isekai.
I guess.
You love isekais.
I'm just tired. You can go on.
So I've been having a good time like unearthing my classics, because it's the holidays and you feel nostalgic or whatever, and I'm feeling nostalgic for apparently batshit yaois that I once read. So this one's, I think, from like 2016. It's very early in my manhwa.
Like when you started
career.
reading manhwa?
Yeah, when I started getting access to manhwa regularly, this is one of the first ones I read. I personally think I read banger after banger after banger for a long time.
When did you start reading manhwa?
Oh, it was like 2016.
2016?
Yeah. I got the job and the t-shirt mines, and then somehow I came across Killing Stalking, and then it's just been...
Yeah, because I think I started a year after you, because you had to convince me.
Yeah, I was showing all the different sites to be at and stuff like that. Yeah, so...
I do put up a fuss. I do like being told about the weird stories you encounter. I'm just like... I just groan at the thought of doing it myself, of reading them myself.
See, you don't have to. You can just make me tell you about it.
Yeah, no, I do. I do enjoy that aspect of it.
All the hard work's out of it. It's just me.
Yes, because, like, if I had to sit there and wait for a weekly update and we're on cliffhanger, wondering what's going to happen to someone's boy pussy, I just can't. I don't got the patience.
Yeah, I'm taking out all the legwork for you. All of these ones that we're doing are complete, so... No one has to suffer that long. You can just go and binge it.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Yeah. Start with me, then binge the story, and then, have a rad one. Yeah.
All right.
So today we're going to be covering At the End of the Road, which is a 2016 manhwa by Haribo, not the Gummy Bears.
I was about to ask.
Yeah.
I was about to ask.
Not the Gummy Bears, because I know last week it was Gyaga, and this week it's Haribo. Total coincidence. That's just her name.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's her first published comic, and is her only rated 15 work. It's also technically an isekai, which I don't prefer. But there's a twist to this soul switching, and there's a really strong thematic through thread that keeps it from feeling too much like a generic isekai.
Mm-hmm.
So not just one of those, oh, I'm in another body, I guess I'll live it. Or, wow, I'm in the body of the princess, and now I have to figure out how to melt the ice-cold heart of this handsome prince.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing that.
I do feel like isekais really suddenly exploded in, like, 2020, 2021, and they are consuming everything. It's an entity that is going to destroy us all.
Yeah, it's hit the boy love market hard, too, where it's like the very stereotypical isekai plot, but they just threw a dude in there. And I'll admit, I'm at least more interested, but I'm still like, please don't.
Yeah, there's a
do
lot
this.
of isekais. I admit I really am enjoying isekai stories. Like, not all of them, but I have ones that I really enjoy. But there's like a Japanese one that was like made in like I think 2010 or something called From Far Away. That is my favorite one. It's a very good manga. It's awesome. It's an excellent work. I really, really enjoy it. Because like she doesn't wind up in someone else's body. She just comes to a whole ass new world, has to learn a whole new language, and I appreciate that. Like, hey, if you're trapped in another universe, I appreciate you gotta learn. But yeah, isekais today are kind of wild. Like, oh no, I'm in this like stepfather and I have to raise like 3 children, but you know, in the character I'm at, I abused those children, so now I have to win my children's love over, and then I also have to get married. Isekais today are weird. They are wild.
Yeah, this one's simpler.
Yeah. So I enjoy the simpler ones too. I'm telling you, I do like it, but the crazy ones, good lord, there's some ones out there that it's just like I wish they just kind of shot them and they stayed dead. Like, yeah. Goddamn, I can never get my life back after I got trapped by this one that was like 400 fucking episodes. Is like fucking so pissed off. She chose the worst male lead. God.
No, this one is short. You agree with the choices that are made. And maybe I'm biased because I've read this one like multiple times at this point, but it is very straight to the point, and you are cheering on a lot of the situation, I feel. But quick trigger warning. We're going to lightly mention sexual assault, so be good to yourself and skip this if you need to, or have a buddy give this a listen first and then come back or whatever. Enjoy gay shit, but in a safe way for you. Please.
Pretty please, yes.
Yes, we're not going to go super into anything. I'm not going to give anything like a bunch of detail. The comic doesn't really give a ton of detail either. But just, if even the mention of it sends you off to a bad place, don't. Just don't.
Yeah, would you warn, like, how much, like, non-con it would show in the comic? Like...
Yeah, I'm going to go into detail at the end, but, like, it's barely any. It's rated for teenagers.
Okay.
So there's...
So they just really allude to it.
There's nothing hyper-specific, but there are some shots that are still upsetting, even though you're not seeing anything explicit. It's enough, and we're going to have to talk about it a little bit, so...
Yeah. I really don't like non-con in work. I don't like real tragedy in a lot of my fantasy. Sexual assault is so for real tragic. I don't really want to read about it. Like, nah, that ain't me. For instance, I'm not going to read Handmaiden's Tale. Sorry, not my series. But, you know, if, like, there's another book out there that has it lightly, like, Let the Right One In, I'm going to read that book. And I have read that book, and it's fine. But, like, other things, nah. Gotta take care of myself.
Yeah, this is one that you could definitely read because it does it in the exact way that you'd like it to, where you know what's going on, you don't get all the details.
Yeah, that's great. Also, like, I want to know, do they try to sexualize it in a fantasy setting? Like, make it like it's rape, but it's hot?
No.
Love that.
No, again, like, it because of what the point of the story is and because of the age restriction, you don't get any of that.
Yeah, because that's another thing I don't like is, like, if they do show rape, then they try to be like, yeah, it's hot, and they like it. And I'm like, no. Don't do that either.
This one's very clear at what the author is trying to get across, and then it's very short and, again, just mentioned, really.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So, let's kick it off. We open on bad shit happening, for real and for serious. This is where we're going to start mentioning things. There's flashes of a young man in a high school uniform being grabbed and held down by another student. We fade to black. He cries out, "Stop." And then the aftermath is just several students, male and female, leaving a storage room that he's been held in. He's beaten and he's bruised, and his pants are around his ankles.
Ugh, I don't like that immediately.
Right. This is all you see. It's like 6 panels, but it's enough for you to understand the situation.
Yeah.
So he drags himself up to his feet, pulls his pants up, and makes his way to the roof of the school. He stands at the edge for a moment before stepping off and letting his body fall, where he is unceremoniously hit by a truck.
Ugh.
Another young man snaps awake, abruptly sitting up in his bed. What a weird fucking nightmare.
Oh, so he dreamed that? That's what he thinks?
Yeah, this is what he dreamed. Yeah.
Okay.
Weird enough that he was a student, but he was also a completely different person. And he died by a truck.
Mm-hmm.
It all felt so real, so freaky. So he vows to be careful that day, because a dream like that feels ominous, even if you're not superstitious. Realizing he's late, in addition to being spooked, he rushes off to his first job of the day. And by first job, I don't mean first client or first task. I mean first distinctly separate workplace with designated work task. because homeboy has 4 per day. He has 4 fucking jobs, 4 different jobs per day that he goes to every day.
And this is a brand new character.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm still stuck on the last character.
Yeah.
Like, what a way to start.
Yeah, so yeah, start with that, and then you immediately go into this young man who has 4 fucking jobs per day.
Not good either.
Yeah, he's not fucking around. Whatever he's doing, he's not fucking around. It is intense. So his history is not great. He was born to a father who sucked and was a wife beater. He got abandoned by his mom, and eventually abandoned by his dad. The only thing left of his parents is the massive debt they left. So he can't stop working until he's free of it. So this is a man who's like 18. Mm-hmm. So in Korea, 18 you're like for sure a senior. You don't have a lot of 17-year-old seniors because of the way the age... That's right, because everyone in every grade is supposed to be the same age. They just take everybody who's turned 5, that's turning 5 that year, goes to school that year. Mm-hmm. So you only are with other 5-year-olds, only with other 6-year-olds, all the way up. So it's weird to have somebody, like, I know in America, sometimes you'll have, like, a 17-year-old senior, a 16-year-old senior, a 19-year-old senior. Mm-hmm. In Korea, it's like it's only 18-year-olds. So he is very clearly meant to be in high school as a senior, and he's instead working
4 jobs.
Yes. Yeah. So he finishes off his last job for the day at the boxing gym and heads off with his pay. He's good at boxing and has even been encouraged to pursue it, but he's got no time. His sole focus is on paying off his debt. Only then can he aspire to hone a skill or have a silly, goofy time. But he's close. Soon he'll be debt-free, and he can do, theoretically, whatever he wants. Within reason, because money is still a thing. Mm-hmm. He passes some students hanging out, all snugly dressed in their winter uniforms and overcoats, and he remembers how much he wanted to go to school when he was a kid. Because he stopped at 6th grade.
Oof.
So once he hit 6th grade, he had to drop out and start working. So he's thinking, yeah, maybe he could finally do that. He's so lost in thought about what ifs that he doesn't notice the truck until it's too late.
Oh, God. Wait, he had to work... Sorry, he had to work at 6th grade?
Yeah, he started working...
How old is that, 11?
12. 12 to 13.
You can do that?
In other countries, you can start finding a job early.
Ugh.
Because some countries don't make you go to school past middle school. And for some people, middle school is a different set of grades, because middle school in America is normally between 7th and 9th grade. Mm-hmm. Other places, it's earlier than that.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, he can just start working, yeah.
Gosh,
yeah.
12.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He'd warned himself to be careful that morning, but whoops.
Truck-san.
Yeah, life's a bitch and then you die. Except, he doesn't die. He wakes up in the hospital, alive and probably well. He sits up and looks around, finding a mirror at his bedside. Oh shit. Okay. Dream wasn't a dream. Or he's not sure which parts of the dream were fully his and fully this person that he seems to be. If he is that person. The truck was definitely real, though. He's positive, but it's a lot. He's just not... You're trying to process waking up in a whole new body. Shit's crazy.
So he woke up in the nightmare body.
Yes. So
in the body of the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So unbeknownst to him, he's been given the blessings of Truck-kun, and he's got a new life to live in a new body with new problems.
This is like how 90% of isekai start is a truck,
mm-hmm.
a bus, a car takes you out. Mm-hmm. We have to stop them.
No,
they are a menace.
This is why it's called Truck-kun. We're to the point where we've named the vehicle. We have grown attached to the vehicle. I've seen Truck-kun, Truck-chan, Truck-sama. Yeah.
Someone needs to do an isekai where the truck also wakes up.
You're going to say that as though it's not being written right fucking now.
I hope someone's writing it right now. Please email Whole Chat if someone is writing a story where the truck gets isekai'd. I have to read it. I specifically, Keelz, Keelz, has to read it.
So wait, the truck hits a person and instead the truck gets isekai'd.
Yeah, because how dare that person get in its path? That truck was just getting off of work. It was going to go to its family in a parking garage. And it was like, I'm so tired. And then who fucking runs into this truck? Some noodle-legged motherfucker who's gonna get a new life, but this truck has to live with a torn-up fender? How fucking dare?
How dare this twink step in front of me so that now I have to fuck up my day?
Yeah.
And be traumatized for hitting a twink.
Yeah, and like probably wind up in the junkyard. That's jail for cars. That's not fair.
Yes, holy shit.
Truck-kun has a tragic life.
You gotta go to bed.
Eh.
Oh my god, okay.
Sleeps for the weak.
Okay. So, at this point in the comic, you haven't even really been introduced to who you're dealing with.
Yeah, we don't have names yet.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and give you his name because we're going to need it to start differentiating some things. But his name is Taemin.
Is Taemin the body he's in, or is that the guy who is now in a new body?
Taemin is the one that's now in the new body.
Okay, so what's Taemin's new body's name?
So, we'll get to that in a second, but his full name is Yoon Taemin.
Yoon Taemin.
Yes. So, that's who we're currently dealing with. He was a kid working 4 jobs, and now he is isekai'd after getting hit by a truck-kun.
Wait, he's isekai'd in his own universe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's a little unique spin to it.
Yeah,
I don't think I've read something like that.
Yeah, it used to be a little more common, like in the 90s, to have like body switchers.
Yeah.
But they normally weren't that traumatic. It was normally, you switched with somebody and you're trying to figure this out. This one's different.
Yeah, no, like I've read a couple of those too, where they switched in a current thing. But like a lot of times now, it's like if you're isekai'd, you either go back to the past in your own world, or you go to a new universe.
No, still same universe, same time frame. He's just somewhere else.
Cool. Okay.
So, immediate pros of being in a new body. He has parents that care for him, and they are fucking loaded.
Oh, nice.
Cons. He feels guilty that he's here, considering they lost a son, and now he's having to pretend that he is their son just with amnesia.
Yeah, good old amnesia.
Yeah, it sucks to see 2 obviously caring people bawl their eyes out, learning that you, their son, have long-term retrograde amnesia. The doctor explains to him and his new folks that despite the severity of his accident, he had minimal damage to his brain. So it's a mystery why he was in a coma for 3 months.
3 months? Damn.
Yes. So on top of being isekai'd into somebody's body, he's not positive how long he's been out. It could have been that he's been asleep for 3 months. It could have been that this accident happened yesterday. He's not sure.
Mm-hmm. Like that he was in an accident and entered this dude's body.
Yeah. The best guess you can make is that these happen at the same time. And so he's just been out for 3 months also. Kind of getting integrated into this body and healing up.
Fun.
Yeah. Nevertheless, he's healthy now and perfectly okay to slowly start reintegrating into his normal life. So he's whisked back home, his new, kind, patient parents encouraging him to take his time. Because it is important, we spoke about it before, a couple episodes back, that if you have amnesia, it's important to try and start going about your normal routines to hopefully either trigger your brain to help with your recovery or to just kind of give your body a chance to kind of finish healing up or whatever. It's a thing that you do. In this case, it means nothing because it's not even their kid anymore. It's just a new guy. Once home, his parents call for someone to come down and greet him. In a flash, a young man races down the stairs and takes Taemin into his arms, calling him Hyung. This is Ji-wook, his brother. He goes on about how excited he is to have his precious Hyung home and that he can't believe he's been forgotten after they shared a womb together, which is a really roundabout way to say we're twins, but go off.
Yeah, let me hug you and be like, we shared a womb. That's so weird.
It's off-putting immediately because I'm like, why couldn't you just say, but you're my twin? And like, we've been together all this time. I can't believe you forget. So this already feels weird immediately. Yeah. Like the parents seem nice and then brother comes down and you're like, I'm sorry that we shared a womb. we were womb mates. My bad for forgetting all that's happened or whatever. And at this point too, you now know the body that he's inhabiting is named Siwon Han. Okay. So there's Siwon and Ji-wook Han, the twins of their 2 parents, or the twins of the Han family. I'm going to be using Taemin for the most part because someone else's name is too close to Siwon, and I know that I'd probably mix it up. Keelz, you are definitely going to mix it
Yeah.
up. And I don't think it's going to sound good. It's one of those things where visually it's easier to pick up on, but audibly, nah, dude, we're not doing that.
So Taewin is in Sewon's body.
Taemin is in Siwon's body, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So, Jiwook is left to get Taemin settled in while their parents head off to their school to sort things out for their son's return. The moment they're gone, the mood shifts. Nothing said, but Taemin can just feel that the air around them is different. Jiwook takes him to his new room and opens the door. As Taemin enters, his brother leans close and says, "You fucking arsler."
Okay.
Yeah, your reaction? Correct. The face you're making to me? Exactly what you should be making.
Okay. Why? You little shit.
Great question.
Good question. Great question. Answer it.
Yes. Jiwook then casually puts a hand on his shoulder and talks about how Taemin shouldn't have woken up because now he's got to go back to school with a fucking moron.
Why is he a moron? Does he have injuries? Or is he just calling him that?
As far as we know, he's just calling that. Like, Taemin has no idea. He's brand new to this. He doesn't even know these people.
Yeah.
So wild shit for your twin brother to say at any time, much less after you woke up from a goddamn coma.
Yeah, give me a minute, asshole.
Right, like, for real. Taemin just assumes they had a bad relationship, and it's not really any of his business. It's not like people haven't talked to him that way for his entire life. Doesn't mean he likes being talked that way, though. So he brushes Jiwook's hand off and gives him the mildest of attitude. Like, it's literally just like, hey, you shouldn't be talking to me that way if I don't remember anything kind of thing. He's just kind of casually rude. It's not even...
Like a for real rude.
Yeah, it's not a for real rude. He doesn't cuss at him. He doesn't call him an idiot, moron, anything. Just, kind of shrugs it off a little bit. In true self-important douchebag fashion, this enrages Jiwook, and he starts going off about how his brother shouldn't be so confident and blah, blah, blah. Except he makes a weird comment that he remembers Siwon on his knees begging for his help.
Bitch. Jiwook, were you in that fucking room?
We don't get immediate clarity on this statement for two reasons. One, Taemin Angie, and has reached his limit on not doing a hit.
Oh.
Yeah, and two, they're interrupted by another person. The only reason Taemin doesn't hit Jiwook is because someone else shows up. Because he was about to. He'd reached his limit.
They're at a house or something?
Yeah, they're at their house.
And there's
So another person shows up, yeah.
Does he live there?
No.
Okay.
Whoever this person is, he immediately has Jiwook nervous and apologetic, a stark contrast to how he was acting a moment ago. Taemin looks at the new person, another teen, and his eyes go wide as he takes him in. He can't believe it, but he knows this guy, or knew him years ago. So now we have our third player is just some other guy at his house.
Okay, does he live there?
No, he doesn't live there. He is another student. But what we're going to get into, and is always at the fringes of this comic, is that the body he is in, the Han family, they are rich people. The dude who just came into the house is also part of a rich family. They go to, like, rich kid school on top of that. Mm-hmm. So the poorest people at rich kid school live in, like, a 5-bedroom house kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so they have their, like, rich people connections thing where it's like, oh, all of our kids should know each other because they're the future of other rich people. So he's like a
family friend who's allowed to come and go.
Yes, he's a family friend who's either allowed to come and go because it gets established later on that the twins' parents met with this new guy's parents when they were kids, and we're like, oh, well, we have kids the same age, and your kid just finished being sickly, so like, let's have them all hang out so they can all make friends and stuff like that. So they're supposed to have a very tight relationship, but it's very much forced. It's like caused by their parents kind of thing, and less about them wanting to hang out. It's like you have to politely hang out. Like, rich society in Korea seems to function like old royalty did, where I have my, 5-year-old boy child, the prince, and you have your 5-year-old boy child, the son of the duke, and they have to hang out together because they're in their, they need to stay within their circle kind of thing. So that's how these kids are being treated. So I don't think they have that strong of a relationship. I think it's more fabricated by their parents, and so they're expected to go see each other and stuff like that. But whether or not they're friends remains to be seen. So this new person, Taemin calls him Min Woo-jin. When they met when they were just a couple of neglected kids living in a bad neighborhood. More specifically, Taemin, after arguing with and getting roughed up by his father, ran off to find some place in the neighborhood to relax, and he ended up coming across a small locked storage building that he swears noise was coming from. Upon opening it, he finds Min Woo-jin, half passed out and panicked. He holds and rocks him until he calms down and comes to, officially marking their first meeting. So they are just two kids from like the slums.
Mm-hmm.
And he just happens upon them one day, locked in a storage room, which is important information later for how he got into that storage room, and then just kind of helps him out. And that's a little bit of flashback that we get from him at that point. Is just how they first met. Taemin shakes out of his flashback to his brother continuing to insult him, thus explaining to their guests that he's a disgusting waste of time and that'll suck anyone's dick.
Jesus Christ.
Which is foreshadowing. And also, what an insane thing to say to somebody and in front of someone that is either a family friend or a stranger. Taemin can't be sure, but what an insane thing to say. But so we already know the brother is insane. He is insanely hostile. We have no idea why he's insanely hostile. But there's no, like, he doesn't even fully believe that Taemin has amnesia.
Yeah.
He keeps thinking, my brother doesn't have amnesia. And is trying to play that card, but it's like, but if he does have amnesia, what do you think you're going to get out of insulting him?
Can I just say, like, I had amnesia, and I didn't go back to school for, like, 2-3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I did go back to school, I still didn't have all my memories back, as we've discussed. I remembered most people, but, like, it was like, I knew of them all vaguely. Like, it was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen you in years, but that wasn't the case. That was just the feeling I got. My bullies left me alone.
Right.
Remember? Like,
yeah.
I had to relearn what bullying was because I, could not remember that I'd been a bullied kid, could not remember my bullies, and most of my bullies left me the fuck alone. There was really only one bully who, she's a fucking cunt, who still messed with me. And even then, she waited like a good fucking month.
Yeah, and even then, like, some of your bullies even tried to get like a clean slate on you and stop bullying you after a while.
Yes, because like I had quite a few bullies like who left me the fuck alone, like completely. And someone told me later that it's like, oh, it's a weird so and so is being nice to you now, and I'm like, what do you mean? But like, I'm just saying, like, amnesia's a scary thing. This kid is coming in so fucking hot.
He's full cunt behavior, truthfully.
Yeah, I'm mad and bewildered because like, when someone finally did start being mean to me, I had no experience or memories of like what mean behavior was like. And since I had a temporal lobe injury, my anger trigger was very quick. So I got super pissed off. Like, uncontrollably pissed off. Because that's the problem when you damage your temporal lobe, is that your anger, at least for some people, I don't know if it's everyone, but I think it is your anger and your emotions tend to run pretty hot. And, like, I tantrum like a child when I couldn't get my way, or, like, when I was angry. And so when I had someone be mean to me, I was so angry. And so I could not, like, before I would take it, I could not take it now. And so I lashed out and I scared the ever-living Jesus out of that person who dared to be mean to me. And then I had to go home because, like, I caused a scene. I didn't know what bullying was anymore. And I was like, I'm not going to take this. This sucks. So, like, I'm so outraged for this kid.
Yeah. It's out. Like, if this were really his brother, like his actual brother with amnesia, I'd be even more outraged. Like, luckily, it is Taemin who seems to be like, people call me the R slur all the time. God. It's not a big deal.
I'm so mad for his behalf.
Oh, also, I will say this comic uses the R slur a lot. This was 2016, and this was, again, a really early translated comic off of Lezin. So I think this is what they went with. I think now they would either bleep it out or they wouldn't use it when they're translating over. But it's just certain words. There's multiple different translations for different words from different, languages and stuff like that. So that's what they chose. So it's littered all over this. It's not a kind thing to say to people.
Yeah.
But imagine it's 2001.
Yeah, because this is wild to say, but I think 2016 was when people really began to be like, the R the R slur is not a great thing to call someone for fun anymore.
Yeah, that and I think
and we grew up as teenagers where you called each other that, or you also called each other like gay, like in the derogatory sense.
Yeah.
But like now it's just like, no, we don't need to do that.
Right. So this is kind of just imagine you're in mid to early 2010s or like in the mid aughts or whatever. That's what we're dealing with. Be aware. So the next day, Taemin and his new family are having a meeting so they can discuss sending him back to school. As long as he's comfortable, of course. Like his parents are like, if you're not chill, don't worry about it and we can hold off. His shitbag of a brother speaks up and posits that maybe he doesn't want to go back to school. Maybe, and this is just speculation, of course, maybe his precious Hyung had a bad time at school and tried to commit suicide. So he's subconsciously uncomfortable with school.
Is Hyung big brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
God, and he's younger, and he's your younger twin? What a cunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just the disrespect. We're gonna have to take pauses. I'm gonna be so mad. I am so irritated. It's that temporal lobe of mine, guys. Like, damn.
But yeah, so he's just positing, oh yeah, maybe he tried to commit suicide. Which is not the way you say that to someone with amnesia. You don't say, hey, maybe you were attempting suicide. He could have just said, maybe he's nervous, or maybe something bad happened, and that's how he ended up, getting in this accident or whatever. But nah, motherfucker's got too clear of an idea as to what happened, and thinks this is an appropriate bit of trivia to throw at his amnesiac brother and still fragile parents. Because of course his mom is aghast and suddenly upset hearing this, because it's a shocking thing to hear, because they still don't know details of the accident. They were just told it was an accident. They don't have any video footage. They have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing, oh, maybe he was upset, these parents feel like, we fucked up. So now we fucked up, and maybe that's why, like, this dude's an asshole. Brother's an asshole.
Yeah, like, it's all... What a fucking antagonist. Like, I don't care how he is the rest of the comic. Ji-wook is on my shit list.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, if he's not even the real antagonist, doesn't matter. He's there now.
That's fair. Taemin, however uneducated, isn't dumb. And definitely isn't a weak bitch. He knows a threat when he hears it, and his darling younger brother threatening him not to come back to school, he gets that. He understands where it's going. Never one to back down from a challenge, and because he actually did want to go, he says he's fine and ready to return tomorrow. The next day, despite what he said, Taemin is feeling less and less confident about school. Waking up early and the uniform is fine, but he's never felt more out of place than surrounded by loads of kids his age, all chattering with one another and doing dumb kid shit. Because he's been doing adult shit since like 6th grade.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah. Once he's on campus, his brother heckles him once again. So he's walking to school because they're close enough.
God, I hope he punches him in the face.
And it's also crazy because they didn't even walk together. Like, obviously they walked separately. And so once again on campus, then his brother seeks him out to heckle him, reminding him that people won't forget something, inferring even more emphatically that terrible things have happened to the body Taemin's inhabiting.
Fucking kill him. I don't like... Just fucking cunt punch him. I don't know. I'm so mad at this little piece of shit.
So not even a moment later, Ji-wook's uncomfortable presence has been replaced by several more. A group of teens surround him, acting friendly, though their smiles are a little too wide, as though there's some secret joke they're all laughing about. Taemin, again, isn't stupid. He knows what this is. The body he's in was being bullied at school and at home, and these fuckers expect him to maintain the status quo. Fuck that.
Yeah, because now inside this, like, bully teenager is a boxer.
Uh-huh.
So...
Yeah, the boxer is important.
Yeah, even if his body's weak, I'm sure he knows some shit to do.
Exactly. So they're trying to pull that whole, like, hey, man, it's been a while, we can't believe you're back. Which, again, it's like, yeah, I would approach somebody and be like, hey, holy shit, like, you're back, and, like, good to see you. But they're just, like, picking up where they left off and being way too jokey, and so he's like, no. These people are faking it. They have fucked with me before.
Yeah. Again, I was not bullied at all after my accident. I came back to school, was weird as hell, had huge obvious bandages. The bullying did not resume until a month later. And it sure did stop after I made a scene.
I maintain that because this is a rich kid school, that this is probably why.
That's probably why.
Like, that, like, rich and disconnected from normal society kind of school. I don't think most of these kids have been in a real fight before.
Yeah. I mean, I was in a school that had way too many fights.
I know.
We had knives and shit, so.
Yeah, we know about the car door, too.
Oh. We could save the car door
It's
for another.
Sorry for another time. So Taemin rather politely tells them to go fuck themselves, saying they need to get better at pretending to be his friend and brushes past them. Of course, they're pissed, because how dare he suddenly change behavior after they've made him absolutely miserable for an undisclosed amount of time. How dare.
Okay.
By now, class hasn't even started, and Taemin's already exhausted. He's not catching a break today, and he's not going to end up catching one. He's vowed to stay away from his childhood acquaintance, but that's a little difficult when he's in your class. Okay, fine. He can still stay away from him. Everyone else in class is. He's practically a pariah, and with all the rumors swirling around him, no one wants to interact with him. They're either spewing, hey, we can't believe that he's back from his coma, or they're whispering about other things that he may have done or something like that. Mm-hmm. So all of Siwon's past is, like, coming at him all at once. And he's like, cool, if everyone else is staying away from me, the person I know will stay away from me. I'll just be a loner. That's fine. Honestly, I have more to worry about because I don't know anything about school past 6th grade.
Uh-huh.
So he's in his, like, second half of his senior year, I think, too. Like, it's fairly late into the senior year. And he's going to be learning, like, fucking calculus.
God damn.
The last thing he did was, like, maybe early algebra. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say he needs a tutor.
Hey.
It's funny that you say that. He does get a tutor later. 2 guesses who that tutor's going to be.
It's his childhood friend he's trying to avoid.
Bingo, bingo.
Why is he trying to avoid him? Just because he's what?
We don't get into that fully at this point. It comes in a little bit later what's going on. But at the beginning, you just know he's trying to avoid him. And that might even be just because, like, you know him, but he doesn't know you because you're a different person.
Yeah, but he knew him as a kid.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know him as a teen, so he doesn't know what to do.
No. They last saw each other when they were, like...
Middle school?
Late elementary school, I think.
Okay.
So late elementary school or early middle school is right at that edge. He keeps hoping to be left alone, even as Min Woo Jin's green-haired companion, Min Jun, comes over to him to chat. He's amused by Taemin's actions. A victim suddenly standing up to his bullies is hilarious to him, considering how much of a pushover he used to be.
Who's Min Jun?
He is Woo Jin's friend. So there's...
Okay.
So the childhood friend,
It's a new
Woo Jin,
character.
Yeah, so it's a new character. He's got green hair. He loves mess.
Oh, okay. So he's like Gossip Girl. He's here for it.
Yeah, he's like, wow, I can't believe you did this. That's super interesting. You used to suck, and now you're kind of cool, actually.
Okay.
That's interesting. So he's even more amused when Taemin explains his game plan on how to further thwart the bullies if they decide to come back for round 2. He's gonna beat their asses.
Oh, buddy. If you're in a bullied kid's body, I doubt you can throw a punch.
Well, considering how shitty his first day of school's been, you know where this is going. Later that afternoon, he's surrounded by the bullies from that morning at a secluded part of the campus. They're talking shit while Taemin's sizing them up. There's too many for him to take on his own, but he also knows he's not dealing with the brightest bunch, so he easily goads the leader of these chuckle fucks into lunging at him. Taemin makes use of his boxing techniques to dodge and subdue his attacker, shocking the remainder of the bullies. Like, specifically, he even says, like, I can read this dude's punch from a mile away because he's swinging too wide to have actually been in a decent fight. And so Taemin sees it, immediately ducks under, and then doesn't even punch him, uses his elbow to get him on the chin because your elbow's sharper than your fist.
Use your bones.
Exactly. So he uses his bones to hit him against the chin real hard, stuns him, knocks him down.
Honestly, I was going to say, like, he should play him fair. Put sand in his pockets, bring a brick to the fight. Shit.
He wasn't prepared that far. And he honestly thought it was going to be the same group from that morning because the group from that morning was, like, 5 kids. But this dude brought, like, a whole posse.
Mm-hmm.
Brought the kids from that morning and then, like, several other more. But so once he gets him down, he then has just enough time to cry for the teacher to faking them out and then sprinting back inside the building. Because he's like, I don't know the capabilities of this body.
Yeah.
I'm not in mine. My reaction time's going to be different. I'm shorter. I'm thinner.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to spook them and then run off. So he sprints into the building to try and hide from them. And they're having this weird game of like hide and seek. They are actively trying to find him. And I'm like, go home.
Yeah, give it up.
Go home. Go to your next class. Eat lunch.
Do something else.
You couldn't have forced me in high school to spend this much time hunting somebody down to fight them.
No.
I'm just not passionate about it.
No, honestly, if it wasn't a quick jump in her school, then it wasn't who has time to plan?
Yeah.
It's either after school, before school, at a game, or you're getting jumped in the hall.
Or the park. Occasionally kids would fight in the park, but it was more of an honor thing and less of a...
Yeah, well, our school was next to the park. You just had to walk half a mile.
Yeah, and then that was normally hey, I don't like your face, you don't like my face, let's fight about it in the park and resolve it. It was different.
Was weird.
It was different.
Different time.
Yeah, for sure. But sprints back inside the building, and so at that point he thinks, perfect. All he had left to do was hide in a classroom and just ride things out until those losers get bored and go home. Except Woo Jin's in the room that he walked into.
Shit.
Woo Jin is tall, aloof, and menacing, and is currently on the phone and not thrilled to have an audience. So he picks the horniest way to threaten Taemin. He traps Taemin against the door using his body in one arm. He does the whole kabe-dan, the thing. We've all seen it. Every shoujo manga on the planet has somebody doing a kabe-dan.
Yeah.
And looking down at them.
At every fucking series does a kabe-dan.
Yeah.
The shonen does it. The horror comics do it. The romance comics, they all do it. It's all good use for weird, horny threats.
Yeah, and this is a weird, horny threat for sure. Totally unnecessary, but he does it anyway. Woo Jin mouths that he wants Taemin out, going so far as to reach around him and start prying open the door. This is not an option for Taemin at the moment. Even though he'd rather be anywhere but here, he is trying desperately not to be near Woo Jin. He has no choice at this point. Panicked, but certain of his needs, he flips the script and pins Woo Jin to the door, pressing his hand against his mouth to keep him quiet. So we got a reverse kabe-dan.
Mm-hmm.
Taemin shushes Woo Jin, his hand's over his mouth, but he's still shushing him. And he ends up getting close to his ear, and he whispers in his ear, "It's all right." Which happen to be the same words he'd said to calm him down when they were young and first met. So when they were in that storage unit and he was calming him down, he said, "It's all right, it's all right."
Does Woo Jin figure him out from that? In saying "it's all right" is just a casual phrase.
It's apparently a specific way he says it that kind of triggers something in Woo Jin's brain at that moment.
All right. I'll allow it.
So, but flashback be damned. So, Woo Jin has that little bit of, I remember hearing it that way. Flashback be damned. Woo Jin punches Taemin twice, while calling him annoying for being both familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. Homie's got that little kid rage where you start punching because you're confused.
Yeah. You made me get a boner. Huh.
You remind me too much of my old friend, and I hate that because you suck and I don't like you. Though so we're clear, Woo Jin doesn't hate Siwon for anything that's happened to him or whatever. He doesn't care about anybody.
Yeah.
He's neutral about most people.
He wasn't part of that whole weird class thing.
No, well, everyone else trying to bully him, he's just cool, he's back, who cares? He's just uninterested.
I hate that, I'm still stuck on the opening scene. I hate that, most likely it was, rape was used to bully this kid.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
God.
But Taemin passes out and wakes up in the nurse's office, being attended to by Minjun, the green-haired kid from before, and Lee Hoon, who is another friend of Woo Jin. So there's 3 friends together. They all kind of hang out.
I wonder if, when he passed out, Woo Jin was just well, what the fuck? He hit him, but didn't expect him to go unconscious.
No, he did what he did on purpose. He was prepared to take him out harder. Oh yeah, they actually mention now that Minjun says to him "Holy shit, you just passed out. You didn't die. Most people when they get hit by him, they're obliterated. That's kind of crazy. You took 2 hits actually."
So they're Most people die.
Yeah, like, Minjin's like, you didn't, like, throw up or anything. That's crazy, dog.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So Minjin explains that things are getting so much more interesting than he previously thought, so he'd like to keep hanging around Taemin to see where this shit goes.
I'd be so tired as Taemin. Oh my god.
It's day one and he's exhausted.
Yeah, Minjin, all this other shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so between his new brother, this green-haired weirdo taking an interest in him, his classmates trying to bully him, and Min Woo-jin, Taemin's about to have a wild fucking time.
God, I hope he puts Ji-wook's head in a toilet. I'm so pissed at his brother.
Okay, so I have to... Like, we're going to get into characters in a second, because this is several chapters in at this point. Once you hit here, things start getting wild immediately, because you have the Woo-jin angle as to whether or not, like, does he know who Taemin is? Has he figured it out? And if he has figured it out, one, how? And two, what is he going to do about it? Taemin's still trying to figure out what sort of person he wants to be at this point, because he can't be the person that whose body he's living in, right? And he's also trying to figure out what happened to himself, like, where did his body go? Did he really die? Like, he's got a lot of questions. Like, is he deceased, or did they just do a switcheroo? Because at this point, he doesn't know. Like, we know they did do a switcheroo.
Mm-hmm.
He just died. But he doesn't know that at the time, so he's got a lot on his plate. But I do have to pause and say, he does flip the script on his bullies multiple times. This is what kept me going in this comic, because I thought it was going to be really dark and grungy the whole time. And there's plenty of dark content that gets talked about. Obviously, we have abused children, and we have, somebody was sexually assaulted at some point, and somebody committed suicide. Like, where somebody committed suicide, and that's how we have the isekai. Like, all that stuff's really dark. But what feels good is that you're watching Taemin in this body of this very abused young man flip the script on all of his bullies. Every time they try to bully him, he one-ups them. Because they'll be like, see, we put a dirty rag on your desk and wrote all over it. And he was like, is this what they call bullying nowadays? My dad beat me with a beer bottle.
Yeah.
Is that it? God,
So
these
shove
children.
that rag in their mouths.
Not even shoves that rag in their mouths. Finds a dirtier rag and covers everyone's desk in it.
Oh.
So the room reeks. And then when these kids are like, oh, well, he's the one that did it.
No one believed them.
Yeah, the teacher doesn't believe him because he's like, but see, my desk looks the worst because there's all this writing on it and it's like stained.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who did it, but it's really bad, right? And the teacher's like, well, now you're all punished and you have to clean it up. And he's like, oops, my bad.
Yeah, bring everyone down if no one's going to defend you.
Yeah, so he absolutely just, like, fucks with these bullies way more than they anticipate. Because they're kids, and they don't realize they're doing kid shit. And he's like, fine, keep doing kid shit. I will one-up you. I will fight you to the death in this body if I need to. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I have no tolerance for bullying or rude behavior or attitude like that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think it's just my temporal lobe stuff a little bit. I'm a little sensitive to injustice.
Mm-hmm.
So I have gotten into quite a mess because of it since my accident. Because again, I can tell you, though no one bullied me for a long time, when it did start up again, all hell.
Yeah.
All hell. Had my first principal visit, that sort of thing.
Yeah, car door, again. Like, it's relevant.
I mean, like, she deserved the car door.
You weren't wrong, but car door was one of those experiences that you were right, but it's pretty extreme. It's kind of hot, honestly.
Well, thank you.
But legitimately, what you're even talking about, you experienced it because your brain got a little whoopsie, but Taemin's a whole complete other person. Yeah. And so this is what really grabbed me in the story is I love seeing people get theirs when they've been little shits about something. Mm-hmm. And I love that he kind of has the opportunity to redeem this kid.
Yeah. No, I feel really bad.
By sheer force.
I feel really bad for the victim of the story who it's actually Ji-wook's brother. What, Sewon? C1. Yeah, I feel bad for C1 because, like, as far as we know, that kid's dead. We don't know where his spirit is. He's not in the body.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, I feel bad for him. I do like isekais that do that, where I read a lot of stories like someone wakes up in someone else's body, and it's like, dude, this character was bullied for no, like, good fucking reason. Fuck that shit. Because, like, yeah, you feel bad for others, but it's also, like, it's also shitty when it's yourself.
Yeah, and it is just sad, but it is so satisfying seeing him get some redemption.
Yeah.
From beyond the grave, essentially.
Yeah.
So and it also, there's some things that can be said about how shitty and easily swayed, like, people can be, especially teenagers in a sheltered environment. Like, it only takes a couple of things changing, the blah, blah, blah. One of my favorite other things about this, beyond them, like, flipping the script on the bullies, one of the bullies in particular gets beat the fuck out of by Taemin, and then, like, imprints on him hard and thinks he's the coolest person ever.
You beat me up and I like you now?
Yeah, because like I said, most of these kids have never been in a real fight. They've been in those, like, because you've seen those fights where, like, they're fighting, but you barely get a blow on each other, like, before the teachers come out, kind of thing. So he's never been in a real fight. So he gets in this one real fight with Taemin, and then is smitten with him after that point. And it's just like, oh, if you want to hang out later, we can hang out. You're super cool.
He wants to be friends with him after a fight. Was he part of the rape gang?
No.
Okay.
No, he's just a different bully.
Yeah. I'm sorry I keep bringing up, but I'm furious. Is that going to... Are we going to find out who the people were that
You do find out, and I will go ahead and say they're not students at the school.
That's great, because, like, I'm at this school going, like, who did it? I'll shake you all down.
Yeah, they're not students at the school. They're students from another school, and they're students from another school.
Yeah. So fucked up, but, like...
Yeah.
That honestly makes it better, because, like...
Yeah, because it would be...
It doesn't, but at the same time...
But it would be more fucked up. Like, people know who you are, and they actively do this. These were strangers for a different set of reasoning to do it. So there's layers here and stuff like that. Because, nobody at the school has detail. Yeah,
that's fucked up.
But yeah, let's dive into these characters. We, of course, have Yoon Tae-min, our main character, and he's 18 and orphaned due to abandonment. He was working a million jobs to pay off debt that his father left him with. He's incredibly resilient and has the experience of someone significantly older than him. Dropped out in 6th grade, so he's lacking more standard education, but he has plenty of street smarts and common sense going for him. Despite all that he's dealt with, he maintains a pretty positive attitude, and his outlook on life is pretty good. He was definitely starting to make plans and figure things out.
Yeah, he wanted to be a boxer.
Yeah, well, yeah, he wanted to either maybe be a boxer or go to college or do something different. Like, he never broke under the pressure of the life that he was living. He just kept going.
Yeah.
Taemin is determined, hardworking, kind-hearted. He always wants to protect somebody who's in trouble. The fact that he's in the body that he's in, I think, is even one of the main catalysts for why he's fighting it back against these bullies so much.
Because he saw that nightmare and was like, fuck this.
Well, he doesn't even realize the nightmare for sure has something to do with it. He starts thinking that once he's been at school for a little bit, and he starts putting together, maybe this is what's going on. But it's just the fact that somebody who seemingly hasn't done anything wrong, has a good life, is still getting bullied and, like, even getting bullied in his own house. He doesn't stand for that. He's got a pretty strong sense of justice, honestly. Yeah. He claims he has a temper, but it always seems to be used for the right reasons, or to defend somebody else. So he does get hot quickly. He gets hot the quickest with Woo Jin, because Woo Jin will push his buttons all the time. They have a very, like, bicker situation going on. But even then, that's the most irrationally mad he gets. Other times when he's mad, you're like, no, go off, King. You're right. You should be mad. I'm be mad with you.
No, this comic feels like vibes of, like, you deserve your anger. Like, I'm so mad at these people.
He basically has no flaws outside of being outspoken and knowing nothing about being horny. Which is not his fault, because he was a busy teen. And I promise you that's relevant, but he does not know how to be horny properly. He never dated anybody. I don't think he's ever seen porn before.
Shit.
He's never had a crush on anyone.
He was busy.
He was too busy.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. He is, of course, currently inhabiting the body of Han Si-won, courtesy of Truck-kun. And he fucks with all the high schoolers around him by just being his regular self. And, of course, he befriended Woo Jin when they were children and became his protector, his caretaker, and his brother figure. Because when we get an expanded flashback, they end up getting super, super tight with each other. And, like, Woo Jin follows him around all the time. And it's very kind of sweet and cute. And he'll talk to Woo Jin and be like, hey, did the witch hurt you again? Well, don't let her do it again. Like, you gotta fight back. You gotta, like, just do something back and you can get out of it. Because I fight back with my
Who's
dad
the
all the
witch?
time. Woojin's mom.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that too. But he was always telling him, was like, fight back against these other bullies. Do something to, like, show him that you're not okay with this. Freak him out. Just don't take it. You gotta try and push. And it's a very, like, kind of kid way of thinking about it. But he meant well and was actually trying to help this kid that he felt was, like, almost like a little brother to him.
Yeah.
So, Min Woojin, I'm calling him Woojin most of the time. But he's also called Min Siwoon for a lot of this comic. So Tae-min thinks about him as Woojin, but he's called Siwoon by everybody else in the comic.
Okay.
And this is also specifically why I didn't want to use Siwon a bunch, because Siwon and Siwoon.
Yeah, I'm already like, what?
Yeah. So Siwoon and Woojin are the same person for reasons that you will find out. He's the male lead. He's also 18. He has the typical family drama of being a mistress's kid. Yeah, so mistress's kid.
Yeah.
And they got dumped out in the slums. But he's now with his rich daddy.
Fun.
Yeah, so rich daddy didn't pay a fucking cent for this, but also put her in the situation to be a single mom. Mm-hmm. She abuses her kid, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is...
Yeah.
I know whose fault it is. Because, yes, I want to fight the twin brother. I also want to fight this dude's dad.
Yeah.
We don't see him often enough. But I think I want to fight your dad so bad.
Yeah, fight him.
I'd throw him in the ocean. Yeah. So, Woojin is intense, rude, off-putting, deeply smitten, and horny. He is regularly abused by his own mom in the past, which eventually led to his fateful meeting with Tae-min, of course. And then he's grown up extremely well-off since disappearing, but his money and schooling doesn't really make up for, like, legitimate care from... adult figures in his life. So he's destined to be weird and at least a little off-putting, considering rough childhood and then not getting the actual care that he needed.
Yeah. He's got to be intense.
Yeah. He's intelligent, astute, and has a reasonable amount of arrogance considering his social status. He really just doesn't seem to care about anybody else. Mm-hmm. He, like, has his two friends, Minjun and Hoon. He hangs with them. He's known them since middle school. He's cool with them. Everyone else, he seems to be like, you could not be here. And I wouldn't mind. He also lives on his own, completely on his own. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of these other comics will have some kid live on their own, but the maid comes by to check on them, or somebody comes in and cleans his home. No, he has a penthouse on his own. He is the only person there. He rarely has people over. He's pretty antisocial in general. But when it comes to Tae-min, all bets are off. You can come to my house. You can hang out with me. You can wear my clothes. That sort of thing.
Because he probably liked Tae-min before when they were kids. Mm-hmm. And now he's just going to figure out that Tae-min's and this other kid and it'll be the same again.
Yeah, because where Tae-min had this strong feeling of like, oh, I can take care of somebody. Because like Tae-min's mom ditched after being abused for too long. In this case, like Tae-min, I think, felt that he kind of redeemed himself a little bit. Like, my mom's not having to protect me in this case, or like someone's not having to protect me, I can protect someone else. Mm-hmm. And so that was a formative core memory for him. And a core memory for Woojin was, oh, someone cares about me. Because all he knows is nobody cares about me. Yeah, because Tae-min had his mom care about him, but then, like, he's like, I don't want my mom to protect me from getting beat. I'd rather just get beat and not have her get beat more. So they're coming from opposite places, and so that meeting that they had was extremely formative for both of them. There's no way they're getting around this. They are bound by this
some rough
short
stuff
time.
Going on.
Yes, absolutely. And so, I will say, Woojin, anytime you see him as a kid, he looks like a haunted Victorian child.
Oh, that's fun.
Because he has blue eyes, and his hair is very light, and then he's super pale. And of course, you see him with all these bruises on him, and you're just like,
big old,
put it back.
Big old precious moments looking fucker.
Yeah, a little bit.
Ugh. Spooky child.
So haunted Victorian child, and then he said haunted Victorian child has been pining for Tae-min since the day that he left the slums. So.
What's the art style like?
The art style, let me look it up. Because I like the art for this. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, I'm ready. Because what I like about Boy Loves is I feel like a lot of them have efforts to look different. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of like isekais with the straight romance tend to all look the same. Like there's like 3 popular styles, and they do that over and over again.
Yeah, so it's got like a kind of soft pastel, warm tone to it, for the most part.
Yeah, like a sepia.
Yeah,
kind of toned.
and like she really tends to emphasize the lips on a lot of characters, lips and eyes. She'll emphasize a lot, and then hair and stuff too. Let me. Oh yeah, here is.
No, that's nice. The adults look like adults, and the teenagers look like teens.
Yes, the teenagers do look like teens, and then here is that's the twin brother. So his hair is slightly different, and then there's our main character. Taemin in Siwon's body, and then let me show you.
Main character looks like typical protagonist, honestly.
Yeah, the one criticism I have is how he looks later is kind of a downgrade because I liked how he looked. I liked how Taemin looked before.
Yeah.
Stockier little man. He's a little bit cuter. It is interesting though. Their hairstyles are very similar. Like both Taemin as himself, and then when he's in the new body, their hairstyles are very very similar. But he's just he's a little cutie, a little handsome little boy.
Yeah. Bigger build, brown hair. Yeah.
Yeah, and then let me get our haunted Victorian child. Yeah, and then Taemin as a little kid's also very cute.
Taemin as a little kid is cute.
Yeah, they're adorable. Let me see. Yeah.
Jesus.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, no, that is a haunted Victorian child, all right.
And when you see him walk around even more, he looks like a haunted Victorian child. Like as a teen.
He grew up handsome, but like as a child he was probably starving too.
Yeah.
But like he looks well fed now. Yeah, no, this is a very pretty style. I like it.
Yeah, I got sucked in by the style too because it's very unique. There are times when it almost looks a little ugly, but like in an artistic way, and I really like stuff like that too.
No,
but,
I'm all about like sketchy looking work too. Like,
yeah,
I prefer like almost unpolished looking work.
Yeah,
like either I want it to be a little unpolished or like hyper polished, like way too much detail.
Yeah, I'm also a huge Nakamura Asamiko fan, so like that, and all of her work is very kind of sketchy and flowy, and this reminds me a lot of that too. So I was in regardless, no matter what the story was I was gonna be into it for sure.
Yeah.
Next character we have is Choi Minjun, who's one of Siwon's friends. The only child of a rich family, and he has the attitude to match. So he's a little insane in a privileged person way, in that he isn't super concerned with anyone outside of his friend circle, and he loves to cause chaos. This is the one that loves mess.
Yeah, like he totally, like, he sounds like a character we would enjoy, honestly.
He's fun. He's the sort of person who fucks around and lets you find out. Solely focus on things that interest or amuse him, which happens to be Taemin for most of this story. He's loyal to Siwon, Woojin, same person. He's loyal to him, enough that he'll do his dirty work, but he wouldn't lay down his life for him or anything. He's rude, inconsiderate, catty, but he's definitely got a charm to him. He also develops a weird pseudo-crush on Taemin, because he's so into how entertaining he is,
yeah.
But he's like, ooh, actually, you want to hang out?
Oh, God.
But he'll keep flirting with him really obviously, and then Taemin doesn't pick up on it, and he's just like, oh, that's okay.
Oh, God.
He's a good friend, but he's just a weirdo.
Yeah.
Lee Hoon is the other friend of Siwon. He's tall, quiet, and polite, and he's the only one out of the 3 of them that's not normally causing mess or ruining someone's day. He feels responsible for following Minjun around and putting out his fires, essentially enabling him to keep fucking around. So if Minjun's causing problems,
it's
Hoon's
his
not helping.
babysitter.
Yeah, like Hoon's kind of his babysitter. They're in the extras. They make some comments about how Minjun picked Hoon essentially up off the street. He didn't really, but like, metaphorically, he's like, I picked up a stray dog and now I keep him. He does whatever I want him to, including beating up people who are trying to beat me up because I shouldn't be beat up. But Hoon's also super polite and won't hurt anybody like super seriously. He's like, well, I'll subdue them because that you shouldn't be fighting. But Minjun, hey, that was a bad thing to say. You don't say that. So anytime Minjun goes off too far and is being too like honest with somebody or being rude to somebody, he'll be like, hey, you shouldn't say that. And so the only person who seems to calm Minjun down is Hoon.
marry him just to save the world.
Yeah, truthfully.
Marry him so no one else has to deal with him.
Hoon doesn't speak often, but when he does, he's usually the voice of reason to Ming-jun and Si-woo's scheming. He's also crazy loyal to his friends, and he would be the person who would lay down his life for them, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they have an interesting little friend group. So then we need to talk about the actual Han Si-won, because he is not featured in the story in present tense. He's also 18. He is the mystery young man that Taemin swaps with. He was a great student, nice person, and a good brother. Like, an actually for really good brother. He faces some awful circumstances and tries to off himself, which he is technically successful at, because you don't see him again. You'll feel terrible for him because he's done absolutely nothing wrong. The only character in here who has no sins and deserved to rest when he chose to. Mm-hmm. So he did take his life and took control of that situation, but at that point you're kind of like, yeah.
What other option?
You deserve to make that choice. Because I think if he had really died, that would have caused way more problems for his twin brother. So him living actually does his twin brother like a little bit of a solid for a while.
I don't give a shit about Ji-wook. Like I said, I hope Ji-wook dies.
No, yeah, I get what you're coming from. It's fine. But yeah, he really is without sin, and you do feel bad for him, and he really, really was a nice person. And so I know they go into some backstory with the two brothers to kind of explain what happened between them and how they ended up here, especially like being twins, especially little kids, you're normally really attached to your twin. So you're wondering what was the rift between them. And even when we get a lot of that background, you're like, oh no, this dude doesn't deserve anything bad to happen to him. He's such a good person.
Ji-wook just sucks.
Yeah. So, Han Ji-wook, speaking of, he's Si-won's twin and a huge asshole.
Hope he dies.
He and Si-won are identical, but he's taken to dyeing and styling his hair differently and dresses more casually and has adopted a shitty attitude and has gotten in like with a bad crowd and stuff like that to try and differentiate himself from his twin. He very clearly has some shit going on with him, considering all the vitriol he spews at his own twin. He also comes off as kind of pathetic. Like, the way he acts towards Woo Jin, you can tell he's a sycophant, and that remaining that way is very important to him. Like, he's thirsty for Woo Jin's attention, and we don't really know why. Because even with the childhood, like, connection, you don't really know why he's so, like, oh, I need to be, he needs to pay attention to me or spend time with me.
So Ji-wook wants the Woo Jin character.
Not in a sexual or romantic way, but he, like, wants his attention really bad. And you don't fully understand why he wants it until later. And it gets worse, too, because, of course, with the whole Woo Jin Taemin situation and them trying to navigate stuff, and, like, this is a boy love, they're gonna... Yeah. The whole point is they're gonna have a relationship. With that going on, that makes Ji-wook even angrier, and then he wants more of Woo Jin's attention, but he doesn't understand that it's like, girl, this is gay attention, like, it's different. And
are you even friends with Woo Jin? What the hell?
Again, they're rich kid friends, so, like, they've been taken on play dates with each other, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they...
So fucking weird.
Yeah, dude, he's having issues. He calls his brother a slut, which is fucked, honestly. But it's one of the clues to unwinding the fucking mysteries of this story. So everything Ji-wook says, you'll get what the fuck he's talking about. Because he can't even really be quiet about it.
Yeah.
So he gives so much shit away. He's such a little dumbass.
He's pathetic, and I want him to die.
I get you. You're not
No,
wrong.
I'm not gonna let it go.
No, I'm not gonna stop you.
Alright.
Go off, queen.
I'm mad.
So I have to introduce another character just because he is important. He doesn't show up for a really long time. He shows up really towards the back third of the story. But we gotta get it in here because he's important. So there's another character named Lee Jun-hoon. He's a real villain of a man. I did not say he's the villain. I said he's a real villain of a man.
Alright.
He's older. He's still a teen, possibly. Might be 18, 19. We're not sure. Seems like he has dropped out of school at some point. Mm-hmm. You can't tell. He never seems to have a uniform on, but he's definitely not like an adult. He's out there. We never found out that much about him outside of him being uncomfortably intense and prone to violence, but he plays a pretty big role in the twins' lives, but you just don't start unraveling that until halfway or later through the comic. He reminds you of Woo Jin, but like the Negaverse version.
evil version.
Like, if we're playing by Sailor Moon rules, he's got some evil energy in him and needs to be cleansed.
Mm-hmm.
This comic is full of foils. It's so full of foils, you could wrap up 10 pounds of ground beef in it. And it's interesting, too, because it's not just limited to, one character is a foil of another character, and that's the only way that it happens. It's more like X character is a foil of Y, and is also a foil of Z, but along different vectors. So, like, Woojin is a foil of Ji-wook because of the psychic damage they've suffered at the hands of adults. But then Woojin is also a foil of Lee Joo-hoon, and the fact that they're both a little creepy and intense when it comes to the person they're interested in. Neither of them are above manipulation, but they're very different at their cores as to why they're manipulating or what the manipulation means kind of thing. Like, one is, again, that kind of, I like you, do you like me? I'm going to trick you to come to my house and hang out manipulation. Mm-hmm. And the other one is like, have you ever felt the life fade from somebody's body? And they're two different, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum as far as that. And to be fair, Lee Joo-hoon is not quite to murdering a person, but, well, you know what, actually.
Is he?
You see him beat up people, but I'm not confident he hasn't murdered a person.
Okay.
You don't know enough about him to know if he has. But some of the other things that he is thought were totally kosher to do make you feel like he's not above murdering a person. Mm-hmm. That's what I'll say. But so, Woojin's foiling one person and then he's foiling another person and at the same time. And then Joo-hoon is also a bit of a foil to Min-jun, the little green-haired kid, because they both love fucking around and are driven by amusement, but one's got big villain energy and the other is mostly just a brat. Mm-hmm. So it really feels like every trait of every character gets reflected and distorted positively or negatively by another. And it's honestly pretty rad. Because you never really fully settle into thinking anything of a person as, like, fully bad. Even with Ji-wook, you understand...
Nah.
You understand that there's some things that happened to him that were not appropriate, but then you get the foil of someone else having a similar situation and they don't make his choices. Mm-hmm. And so you can still be like, cool, that sucks, but go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Fuck you, Ji-wook. Get wrecked.
I remember, too, the last time I read this, I saw comments about, like, oh, well, he's suffering from this and he's suffering from that, and it's not fair because he's a child. And I was like, you're absolutely right, but he can go fuck himself still.
No, like, I have a feeling of the crime. I have a feeling that Ji-wook was involved in his brother's terrible circumstances. Mm-hmm. And if he was, fuck him entirely. No forgiveness.
I'm going to tell you after this and you're going to be so mad.
I bet I'm right. Fans, listeners, I bet I'm right.
So, beyond, the foiling and stuff, parallels and comparisons really are just the backbone of this comic. And perspective means everything also. So, Taemin and Woojin's perspectives about each other help define how they've lived their entire lives from the time they first met to becoming, 18-year-olds. It's also part of the conflict as they try to navigate each other throughout the story. Because Taemin and Woojin see their separation as very different situations. Taemin feels abandoned. Woojin feels like this was necessary to continuing their relationship. So one sees this as negative, the other one sees it as like a necessary evil, and so that kind of changes how they're trying to interact with each other as teenagers now. And then Ji-wook's perspective serves as a catalyst for a lot of the tomfoolishness in general, but also within his own life. So he fucks up parts of the story, but also he isn't really helping himself necessarily either.
Good.
He's his own worst enemy just because of how he views things. And the handful of adults we come across also have some bullshit perspectives that stir up a fair bit of internal and external conflict for our characters too. So obviously Woojin's dad is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And whatever he's got going on with him
left the dead on him and
causes
all that.
problems. There's some other adults that kind of lead to what Ji-wook's dealing with that are not great. And also, no offense to the twins' parents, but I swear to God, part of the reason, like, they're caring parents. They love their children. They take good care of them. They're proud of them. They treat them both really well. But now that these kids are 18, they're very hands off. But they also implicitly trust other rich people. So there are times when Taemin is gone for a couple of days, and they're just like, oh, well, he's with his other rich friend. He's with Woo Jin, so he's fine.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, can y'all be more concerned that your amnesiac child is out here? But even they seem a little sheltered by money, thinking, well, as long as he's hanging out with other rich people, what's the worst that could happen?
Okay.
And I also have to add into the villainous dude, Ju-hoon. He also is like a rich kid. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you can't be just assuming everybody who's rich is safe. This feels insane to me. Don't do that. Please give them a call. Give them an air tag.
I always feel like the worst shit I hear about are from rich people. Like, everyone worries about the poor, but I'm like, it's always the rich kids and the rich people doing the most heinous shit.
Because they got time and money, bitch. Like,
yeah, like, it's like they have to take it a step up. Like, I might punch you in the face as a poor child, but a rich child might, like, taser you.
Or a rich child is gonna, like, hire more people to punch you in the face and end you in the hospital. I'm gonna punch you once and we're just gonna get over it.
Yeah. Many a friendship is forged in the slums.
Truthfully.
After punching.
Yeah. This story is pretty short, but it's incredibly dense. You're having to solve the mystery of who Taemin has become and how and why he's in the situation in real time with him. And for every mystery solved, there's some other crazy layer to it that you didn't expect. Like, you have a strong hunch who one of the villains is, but you don't know for sure or why for a long time. You will be guessing up until the last few chapters exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, like, the comic is pretty gorgeous. Like we talked about a little bit. I like it a lot. It utilizes a very soft color palette, and it really complements Haribo's unique style. Her characters are all very expressive while maintaining some awkward kind of beauty around them. They don't look like almost kind of model-esque. Model-esque and kind of flowy is what they look like. Everyone seems like they're mid-movement, even when they're standing still, and it really keeps you engaged when the characters are like deep in exposition. The fluidity when the characters are in motion, especially during fighty or flirty scenes, is downright captivating. Mm-hmm. It's honestly hard to believe this is her first comic.
Yeah.
The comic also does one of my favorite things, which is taking some heavy subject matter and making it more digestible. This comic is rated 15 and up, but manages to cover some pretty fucked up stuff without making it explicit. I think it takes a lot of skill to allude to something awful while still getting the point across.
Yeah.
And she does it, she does an excellent job of it. And it's another testament to her artistic skill, because you got to see like a quick flash of some of it and you couldn't pick up on anything because I'm just scrolling down. Because truthfully, like, what you do see is artistic. It feels kind of, I'm trying to think, I would almost say the opening scene to the original Crow, the original 90s Crow, the opening scene to that I think is almost more explicit than what you see in here.
Yeah, or maybe the flashback scene, you mean, in The Crow?
Yes,
in
the
1990s?
The flashback scenes are more explicit than what you see in here. And and those were honestly a lot of just artistic shots and panning and stuff like that too. So
that's another good comic, kids. Go read The Crow, James O'Barr.
But yeah, I really couldn't believe how unsettling this was without being too much. Like, you feel unsettled, but then you're also like, oh, cool, like, we've gotten over the hump. We're now getting into Taemin fighting bullies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, because too much is fine sometimes, but I didn't want too much for this one. I really didn't. I'm glad she stopped where she did.
Yeah, it's an intense subject matter.
Yeah. I don't want to be that upsetty all the time. And it helps that this story is broken up with a lot of teenage shenanigans and silliness, so that nothing feels too serious. And because I had said earlier, like, one of the bullies, like, ends up being really smitten with Taemin after getting his ass kicked. Like,
do they actually become friends, or does he just avoid him?
No, Taemin, like, avoids him after that. And because he's also, like, I got other shit to do. Because at that point in the comic, he's trying to avoid a lot of people.
I wouldn't want to deal with that one either.
Yeah, but it's a great way to break the tension between all that mystery and the threatening auras and stuff. And also the teens just feel like actual teens. Because so many things that he does to them, they're like, I can't believe you did this, man. And it's like, all right, baby, child. Mm-hmm. And for all the 4D chess that Taemin and Woo Jin are trying to play against each other, they're also dumb as shit sometimes and big whiners other times. Because Woo Jin especially will throw little baby tantrums, but it just looks like he's like mad or feeling extra stoic or standoffish, and it's like, no, you're throwing a tantrum.
Oh my god.
You're like, how dare this happen today when it was me time?
Mm-hmm.
How come someone's taking your attention when I could be having your attention? But he just looks like a pouty little cat at most. Like, you know, cats will look like they're glaring at you, but they're just like, pet me right now. That's what Woojin looks like.
Yeah.
It's very cute. But all in all, Taemin is a great main character, and his natural personality helps reshape the trajectory of multiple people's lives. On the low end, he changes the attitudes of those around him and eases their prejudices, but also, of course, he changes Han Siwan and Woojin's lives forever. He's just one random guy who's worked too hard, but he's given the opportunity to really prove how influential he can be, and he's not even trying. He's just being himself. And that's really one of the important things to take away from this comic. That Taemin's life, no matter how insignificant he thought it was, mattered to someone. You always matter to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's it. That is what we're going to talk about for At the End of the Road. You can read At the End of the Road on Lazen and TappyToon. So you have two options. TappyToon's cheaper. That's all I'm going to say. So it's got a decent trigger list. Obviously, it, again, doesn't go into hyper detail on anything, but it needs to be said. It contains mentions of sexual assault, child abuse, domestic violence, extreme poverty, extreme bullying, violence, suicide, awful parents, manipulation, and general uncomfortable behavior, and of course also the R slur. So be prepared for all of that if you decide to read it.
Mm-hmm.
Still, again, I think a lot of people could read this, but you just,
might as well.
It's worth. You just want to be careful because sometimes the most mild things can trip you off in some place you don't want to be. So be aware.
Yeah.
You can find Haribo on Twitter at Hamgi5492. That's HAMGI 5492. She also has another long comic called Mad Dog, which features a couple with a similar bickering vibe, but it also has gangsters and more violence. Lots more violence. Way more violence. And then people actually fuck in that one. Yeah, because it's actually rated for adults on that one. I will eventually get to covering that one too because I liked Mad Dog a lot because, again, beautiful style continues. I like her storytelling. It's great. Mm-hmm. And then she has a short called Deep Down, which just came out. On the scale of which things you should read from her, this one, At the End of the Road, for sure. Most people can do this. Mad Dog, I'd say as long as you can handle violence and some other fucky ducky, you could probably do that too, but that would be the next layer. I'm pretty sure Deep Down, it's short and very intense. That would be the one that I recommend maybe not reading. Like, if this is too much for you, Deep Down's not going to work out.
Deep Down is for the real ones. The people who can take it.
If I remember correctly, I think it's part of a bunch of shorts that are about military or army or platoon kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And she just went for it.
I think she went too hard in the paint. I think it's very fucky ducky, so maybe skip it. But yeah, more importantly, your whole rating. What do we got?
This is one of those comics that I don't know if my whole rating would count. I don't like being angry when I read a comic. I probably sound really boring to y'all, but I don't like being angry when I read a comic. I don't like a tragedy that can happen in real life necessarily in my fantasies. Mm-hmm. Like, what I'm into is, give me, I have to fight a monster from space or aliens or something, or, fantasy drugs, something like that. I don't like bullying and, real life angst, in my romance fantasy stuff. It's just not for me. I'd rather have, the things that get easily conquered in my imagination. I don't know, carrying the One Ring sounds easier than dealing with, getting cornered in a classroom and something unspeakable happens to you.
Right.
I don't know. It's not my vibe. So I don't think my rating necessarily counts on this because I don't think I would really read this one.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I think the whole thing sounds really interesting. I'm really impressed with the twist. I love foils. I love a foil. So that there's a lot of that going on. I'm going to give this a good 9 out of 10 whole. I can't give it a 10 because I wouldn't read it. I would have gotten to the first part and just decided, nah, it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my limit. But it does sound good. I'm going to enjoy listening to you tell me about it later.
Yeah. There's a slight look in your eyes that says that I have to tell you what happens. Okay.
You do.
I will. Please don't look at me like that.
I don't know why I've decided to sit here and allow this to happen to me. But I feel like I go through the most intense shit. Sometimes twice a week. Sometimes we record twice a week. And so I go from one high to another high. And I don't get let off easy.
I promise we're doing something really fun next time.
Yeah? Something nice?
Yeah, it's really fun. I like it. You'll like it.
Great. Would love something nice.
Okay. If you want more Whole, please subscribe to us on Spotify and YouTube. You'll never miss an episode, and you can listen to your gay little heart's content. If you want to reach out or listen to previews of our episodes, you can catch us on Tumblr and Bluesky at whole-chat. Or if you want to keep it private, you can email us at whole.chat.69@gmail.com. If you want to send me anything to keep her from strangling me while I sleep, please reach out to us any way that you can.
Yeah, send me a comic where Truck-kun gets isekai. That's what I want.
Okay.
Send me that Truck-kun in isekai land. Or is that all of Transformers?
The Transformers don't get isekai. Well,
think about it.
They don't get isekai. They go to another world, but that was of their own choosing.
But they're in a new body. They all possess different vehicles.
Yeah, but that's just how they're born. You don't want to get into Transformers lore, actually, because actually the Allspark is like divvied up between each. Never mind. Nope, I'll sway to you off. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, do you want this to be 2 hours long?
No, because just depending on what Transformers lore you're following with, whether it's the cartoon or More Than Meets the Eye or the Mac Adam one or whatever, it's different. So don't whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, they're knights in the movies at one point or something.
Anyways, wow, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and keep it tight. We'll see you next week.
Keep it tight.
Oh, child.